Am I the a-hole for splitting with my wife after she aborted our baby after things is psychic said? I, 34 male, have been married to my wife for 8 years. We have a 6-year-old together, and my wife was also pregnant. My wife's very spiritual, and I'm not very knowledgeable on the things she enjoys because I grew up strictly religious. But it's fun to her, and I never minded as long as I wasn't involved. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, she went to see a psychic to get a reading on our baby. The psychic predicted correctly it'd be a boy with blonde hair, which isn't hard to tell because my wife has blonde hair. She also got a reading on herself a year before she met me, and the psychic said she would find the love of her life soon. Basically, my wife went this time for our second child, and the psychic freaked out and said this baby would grow up to do horrible things and hurt many people, living a life of crime and cause blood of the innocent to drip. Some real horror movie stuff. My wife believed her and went and made an appointment for an abortion without notifying me. When she told me she had booked the appointment, I tried to talk her out of it, which she agreed, but then went and had it secretly done with her sister. Basically, I packed up myself and let to go stay with my mother. I told her we were through and I'd be back for my son, but I didn't want to speak to her besides that. I lost a child we tried for months to conceive over a psychic. My wife said I was leaving her at a time she needed me the most, and how horrible of a person I was because it was her body and her choice. She then accused me of abandoning my family because of the control I was lacking over her body. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your wife is nuts. Try to get full custody of your son. Nuts? This witch is nuttier than squirrel shit. And dumber than a sack of hammers if she believes a psychic. Not the a-hole. Get your son out of this situation before the psychic tells her to hurt him. File emergency custody immediately. 100%. I'm completely pro-choice, but this story makes me question her ability to make rational decisions and to care safely for a living child. Not the a-hole. I'm completely pro-choice too, and honestly, if she had said, I don't want a second baby and I'm getting a procedure, that would be totally fine, whether or not Opie was on board with it. Yeah, they'd probably split up over it, but that would all be within the scope of her living and mental capacity to make that choice. This is none of those things. Opie specifically said that they both wanted this baby. She appeared to agree with him when he tried to talk her out of aborting, and then she went behind his back, which would have been a major breach of trust on its own, but not unheard of, I suppose. At that point, even without knowing her reason for it, Opie could have chosen to leave her. And it wouldn't be about control of her body, but the general breakdown in their relationship. But wait, there's more. Her reasoning for aborting points to complete lack of judgment, let alone common sense. While she may not currently be a danger to herself or others, like their other child, with her decision-making process so incapacitated, that may change on a dime. At this point, Opie would be the a-hole to himself if he stayed, and to his son if he doesn't get him ASAP. Not the a-hole. This is horrendous, to be honest. She's not stable. What happens to your son if the psychic tells her he is gonna do something wrong or bad? Jesus, that's crazy, man. She should be ashamed of herself, especially for doing it behind your back. Her language was also manipulative as heck. Absolutely her body, her choice. But that choice has ramifications. Reminds me of the people who get fired for saying stupid stuff and then cry the First Amendment. Next story. Am I the a-hole for resisting my girlfriend's and therapist's reading of a situation? I'm 36 male, been dating my girlfriend, 38 female, for about 1.5 years. Things haven't been going so great, so we've started couples therapy a little while ago. In a recent session, my girlfriend said I wasn't being supportive and gave the following situation as an example. One evening, I didn't reply to her texts for about an hour and missed a call from her. I genuinely didn't see them. I usually respond more quickly, but there certainly have been cases where I or she haven't responded for longer than that, and it wasn't an issue. Before I saw the text, she got mad at me, sent me more texts calling me a prick, saying I didn't care about her, that I was just coasting the relationship, etc., etc. When I looked at my phone, I ignored the insults and apologized for missing her texts and explained that I didn't see them. She kept having a go at me, eventually telling me she wouldn't speak to me on the next day. When she brought it up with a therapist, she admitted that the way she behaved was not great, but that she was feeling sad that day and needed support. The therapist let her off the hook completely for her behavior, and we spent literally the next 40 minutes discussing ways in which I could act differently to avoid similar situations in the future. I felt this was not fair, as she completely lost her temper over something very minor. I was trying to explain the obvious fact that it can happen that you don't see someone's texts immediately, and pointed out that I immediately apologized for missing them. My girlfriend insisted that if only I called her back immediately, this would have been already after she started abusing me. That would have made everything okay. And the therapist acted like it was 100% on me to act in the way my girlfriend would expect. I said that my girlfriend was so angry that it didn't seem like anything would calm her down, and at any rate I couldn't have known that calling her back would make it all okay. I also said that since she was being abusive, I had a right to step away from the situation. The therapist acted like my girlfriend was completely right about this, and kept saying, just admit you didn't want to call her, which I refused to do, saying it's a really unhelpful way of framing this. I still think I was drawing a healthy boundary for not caving in and defending my behavior. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your girlfriend sounds like a needy, self-absorbed drama queen. Why would you want to continue dating someone like this? You need an objective therapist, not this one. Girlfriend is out of line. I accidentally left my phone on mute after a restart and forgot to turn it back on. That's on me, but not that I was trying to avoid getting a call. This therapist is the worst. Yep, OP is screwed. The girlfriend has found a therapist who will pacify her negative behavior. The relationship will just get worse. OP will always be wrong. He needs to make an exit from the relationship. Not the a-hole. It sounds as if your girlfriend's therapist is actually endorsing and enabling your partner's bad behavior, rather than working a way around her rude and clearly toxic traits. I would suggest that you state to your girlfriend she needs to grow up and start being an adult and not a toddler. Otherwise, you can't see the relationship going any further. At the very least, get a new therapist. Like, I'ma be real. If I've only been dating someone a year and a half, and we've already talking about couples therapy, I'm just cutting my losses. Because this clearly isn't going to work out. Couples therapy is for a long-term relationship where you both have a lot of history and love for each other and know that the relationship is worth fighting for, not someone you've only been dating a year and change and is already acting like this. Girlfriend is chronologically 38 with the emotional intelligence of a 14-year-old. Every field, therapy included, always ends up with a few lemons. Looks like you got a ripe one. No one should be expected to tolerate abuse in order to validate someone else's feelings. The feelings may be valid to start with. Once abuse becomes the coping mechanism, all validity goes out the window. Not the a-hole. My ex is now a therapist. She was enough of a train wreck that I can't imagine her giving anyone advice. Yep, the most batshit crazy woman I know is a therapist. This is a chick that was in Narcotics Anonymous by the time she was in high school, is still an alcoholic, admits that she likes the bad boys. Something about a prison record gets me going, was an actual quote from her, and she says she can't understand monogamy. I'm sure at this point you wouldn't be surprised to learn that she's married to a meek little wimp of a man, and they enjoy an open marriage, which means she brazenly bangs all her felon ex-boyfriends on a rotating schedule when they're out on parole between prison sentences. Yes, this is the woman you're paying $200 an hour to help you through a difficult spot in your marriage. Next story. I can't see myself settling down with my pregnant girlfriend of 5 years. Am I the a-hole? I, 29 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 28 female, for 5 years. We've had discussions about our future goals, settling down, having children, and other similar aspects. Initially, we were both on the same page. I believed she was the one for me. However, lately, I've been feeling a sense of boredom and monotony in our relationship. Our intimate life is great. She's a wonderful cook, and she's objectively attractive. There isn't anything inherently wrong in our relationship. But the thought of being stuck in a repetitive routine is becoming overwhelming for me. Additionally, 3 of her close friends are either engaged or married, and she keeps pressuring me about when we'll take that step. I had been contemplating ending the relationship because I found it increasingly difficult to pretend that everything was fine. However, last week, she told me that she had taken 3 different pregnancy tests, all of which came back positive. To say that I was mortified would be an understatement. Despite my best efforts to conceal my reaction, she could tell that something was off, and she asked me how I felt about the situation. And I must admit that my choice of words could have been better. I asked her if abortion was an option, which caught her off guard. The following 2 minutes were filled with an uncomfortable silence. After that, she got up and left the apartment. Since then, she hasn't spoken with me at all, and I assume she's considering breaking up with me. Meanwhile, her friends and family have been calling me names, but I have chosen to ignore them as their opinions hold no significance to me since they aren't directly involved in this situation. Despite me feeling free and so much better now that we aren't together anymore, I still can't help but think I might have been the a-hole. Now for the comments. You think you're free? Wait for the court summons. Just what I was thinking. My dude doesn't even realize how little freedom he is about to have for the rest of his life. Yeah, it's bizarre that he's not realizing he will never be free if his partner or ex is pregnant and isn't getting an abortion. But soon he will realize the joys. Right? I also enjoy the part where he says her friends and family's opinions hold no significance to me since they aren't directly involved in this situation. Like what? Yes, this very much involves them. Especially if OP's response was just end the pregnancy. They are going to help raise the baby. OP, yes, you're the a-hole. In a few years, you will probably look back at this and see what a massive a-hole you are being. Then again, you are nearly 30, so maybe not. You need to take responsibility for that baby if you want to be with your girlfriend or not. It's okay to want to break up, but you can't just walk away. You are not as free as you think. Your life will forever be different, even if it's just child support payments. Stop acting like you are 18 and take responsibility for your role in this situation. I have the incredible privilege of having a loving, steady girlfriend whom I for some reason judge on sex, her cooking, and her attractiveness. Even though I love all of those things about her, I'm getting bored with my steady relationship just at the time my girlfriend turns up pregnant. This is, of course, after we've been together 5 years and had discussions about our future to the point where she assumed we'd be together forever and a pregnancy would be welcome. When she told me she was pregnant, I told her to abort the baby because I was bored and thought about breaking up with her. OMG, yes, you're the a-hole. Whom I for some reason judge on her cooking and her attractiveness. I feel awful for her for many reasons, but especially the 5 years with this a-hole, and this is what he distills her down into. A hot chick who feeds and bangs him. My first husband used his exact line to try to get back with me after I divorced him. You cook and clean more than other girls and you have a hot body. Pass. Last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to end my relationship because my fiancé wants to spend Christmas with his daughter and ex-wife? I, female 29, met my fiancé, male 35, 5 years ago and had a 2-year-old daughter who he has shared custody of with his ex-wife, female 40. I always admired his friendship with his ex and how they're raising their daughter amicably. The first Christmas, he told me that he was going to spend it with his ex-wife and baby. He stays the whole 3 days, 24 to 26. I didn't even think about it because we've been dating for some months only. I usually fly home to my parents on Christmas anyway. This happened every Christmas afterwards and I was fine. He proposed to me in February. Yesterday, he asked me if I was going to buy my flight to my parents early, so I don't need to pay 3 to 4 times the cost if I buy it around Christmas. I was surprised and told him that I thought that we could do Christmas together this year. He said, what? We, his ex and he, always celebrate Christmas together for the daughter's sake. I told him that it was not okay now we are engaged to be married. I asked him why they don't do alternate Christmases or days like other divorced couples. But he said, no, we promise to make our daughter's life as normal as possible. I started thinking after his words, I don't know how this will work in the future. After 5 years together, I'm still shipped away every Christmas. And I know it's for the little girl who I adore, but I feel sick to my stomach. I think I want to end a relationship, but he thought I was being so selfish and horrible. I feel horrible too, but I don't see any future with him. This is strange for long term. Have a serious discussion about what the future looks like. Once you have a family, the dynamics will change for his daughter and your future children. If he is planning on factoring in the ex's opinion long term, you gotta move on now. Thank you. I felt doubt that maybe it wasn't my place to ask him to be with me this Christmas, like I'm not that important in his life. Why can't you not go too? You are getting married, and if she got married or had a long-term partner, he should be included as well. Why not? Yep, either he and his ex are mature enough to co-parent with the shared holidays, meaning actually shared, including new spouses and future kids with those spouses. Or they're not, and they need to make an arrangement for trading off holidays. Do you plan on having kids with him? I'm not sure how that would work. I understand prioritizing his daughter, but he needs to figure out a better solution. Either switch to every other year or let you come with him. You say his ex doesn't want you there, then it would have to be alternate years. He needs to also prioritize you. Every Christmas without your husband sounds depressing. I will let him know exactly how you feel and ask him to find a solution. If he refuses, then you will know how much he actually cares about you and your feelings, not the a-hole. To be honest, I'm 8 weeks pregnant, and I hesitate to write it here, but I haven't told him yet. I asked him about our future children and him not being around every Christmas, and he replied that it's only fair. It broke me. It's gonna be interesting if you break up and keep the baby. Where is he gonna stay for Christmas? That's no mystery. He's already said his kids with Opie don't matter as much to him. She said above that he said even when they get married and have kids, he's going to spend every Christmas with his ex and their kid. Because, and I quote, they get both parents every other day of the year. Christmas is nothing. Update. Fiancé just got home and showed me a text he got from his ex. He told her basically that he was planning to include me in this Christmas. Her answer was long and harsh, saying that I wasn't really family yet and that she wasn't comfortable with a stranger in her house. Then she accused him of being weak and prioritizing a woman over his daughter, who's in a sensitive age now. So he asked me that maybe not this year, but next year I'm definitely family because we will be married and his ex won't have any other excuses. I feel more conflicted now. Could I stay another year and hope it gets better? Or should I just cut my losses when he obviously isn't trying to support me? I know it's his daughter he's thinking of, and he doesn't want to make waves, but I feel like I'm nothing right now.